Now, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting ready for a long winter up here in the upper Midwest, and you want to find a way to have a garden indoors. And I've got John York with me today. Good evening, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, doing well, doing well. The people want to have a solution for this, and I think at Nature's Footprint, you guys have got an option of something that you can use in these kind of off-season in the house as well as kind of outdoors in the summer. Can you tell us a little bit about the Metro Grower?
Yeah, so our system is a sub-irrigation container. A lot of people have put out on the market products that are called self-watering containers.
Yes.
Well, ours is working on the same premise in that it wicks moisture up from below, but it's got some really good benefits. And we like the term sub-irrigation because it's more specific. The plants don't drag the hose over or the watering can over and fill the reservoir up, right?
Correct.
Um, the biggest difference in the way that the product looks is that our reservoir is on the outside, as you'll see in a minute. So you can actually look at the product and visually very easily see whether or not there's water there for the plants. Now, the benefit for people in using a system like this is that you have even moisture distribution in the container, so the plants are able to take the moisture up as they need it. When you water from above, you have all these different issues, like you compact the soil, you leach nutrients out. A lot of the water just kind of runs out the bottom or fills up the saucer, and if there's no air at the bottom, that's bad for the plants too, right?
Sure, for sure.
So we really try to alleviate all these issues with this container. The other main factor with plants in the root zone is air. Our product also creates a permanent airspace so that the plants always have a lot of airflow, so they're never going to rot. It reduces the amount of pathogens. It increases the root numbers by air pruning at the base of the pot. So the more fibrous root system you have, the more nutrient uptake, the more vital and healthy the plants are going to be.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Let's take a look at if you've got one of the planters there.
Yeah. So yes, it consists of three parts. So you have the container itself, the separator, which is this piece here, and a saucer, which is your reservoir. Okay, so very simple. The the real key piece is this right here. So this is called the soil separator.
Okay.
And you can kind of see that it's a grid,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's all for airflow. So underneath here, you've got permanent airspace. There's always going to be air. And the way the grid's consisted is of these specifically designed holes that will hold your media but allow air and the roots to pass through. And when that root comes into contact with the air down below here, that root tip dies and branches. Just like when you cut a branch on a tree, right? You get more branching. The roots act the same way. And having that air down here at the base is where it's going to cause the most benefit because roots grow down in response to gravity. The other key feature is this right here. This is a knockout called the Wicking Chamber.
Okay.
So when it's in the pot here, some of your growing media will go down and make contact with the water in the saucer. And that's how you get your wicking effect. And these are made out of high quality food grade plastics, all manufactured in Portland, Oregon.
So now you were mentioning that of course your media sets on top of that kind of that. Now, what type of media would a person be using in something like that? Is it something that you want to use a certain type of thing, or is it kind of really universal?
We have our own potting mix that we recommend, but the real key is to use a high quality organic potting mix. We recommend using something that's got a lot of compost in it and a lot of cocoa fiber is our preferred base. A lot of people use peat. Peat will work in the system, but we found in our testing that the cocoa fiber based products work much better. The wicking effect is better. That capillary action is like a chain that goes up from the water to the plant's roots, and that chain forms much more easily with the texture of the cocoa fiber. And when you use an organic nutrient embedded into the media, you pre-mix in a good, fully fortified nutrient, then all you got to do is put water in the saucer. And maybe every 3 or 4 weeks come and top dress some, water that in slightly, and then you're just putting water in the saucer, so it's very simple for people to use.
Now, when a person has an active growing plant or plants in that system, how often am I going to need to water it, especially in wintertime where we're a little bit drier than we are in summertime?
Well, it depends on how fast the plant's growing. But for an example, our largest tomato plants growing in the 20-gallon size would still take 3 or 4 days to go through all the water.
Okay.
So when the plants are growing very vigorously, it's very rare that it would take more or take less than 2 days to go through. In some cases, it will be a whole week.
Very nice. So for those of us who are, growing some herbs or something at home over the course of the winter, I can leave for a weekend. I don't have to worry about the plants drying out and dying.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And of course, it can be used indoor or outdoor. Is that correct?
Yes, most definitely. Depends on the crop that you're growing. When you're growing inside, things like herbs and salad greens, leafy things like that, south-facing window should be enough to get you through.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a good south-facing exposure, you'll need some sort of supplemental light, and the amount of light that you put over the container will dictate the kind of crops you can grow. You're not going to be able to put a compact fluorescent bulb over it and get tomatoes producing through the winter. That's just not reasonable, but there's a whole range of different lighting options, and we're actually exploring different options that we could package with this product and sell to people.
Yeah, because I would assume when a person's got that kind of compact space and you got the Metro grower that'll fit into that space, the lighting really becomes the biggest inhibiting factor when it comes to growing things.
Yes, but there's a lot of really good options on the market these days.
Yeah, it's just really become a vast industry for a lot of folks. If people like to find out more information about the Metro grower, where can I go to check that out?
They can go to naturesfootprint.com. We've got all kinds of information there.
You've got the pictures and some little how to use it and such videos.
Mm-hmm, we do. I believe there's videos up there. We have some YouTube videos out. When you buy the product, you can buy it just as the plastic like this, or you can buy it packaged with our growing media, and it comes with more extensive instructions and how-tos and things like that.
That sounds great. That sounds like a great option, especially as we're getting into the fall season. I know my wife has already talked about, we should start a couple of things to have them going over the winter. So the Metro grower would definitely be a great option for that.
Yeah, I also have some other sizes too. This is a 10-gallon, so you can see works on the same premise. This is the separator here. The permanent airspace fits right in there, and then you just have the saucer at the bottom as your reservoir. So we've got 10, 15, and 20-gallon sizes as well.
Very nice. That gives a lot of variety. So when you get into a 10-gallon, you can have a lot of things going in that pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, John, I want to thank you for your time today. We'll go check out the website. For those of you who are watching the video, we'll have the link in the description below, so you can pop out and check it out. But I think that's something, for a lot of us who have a smaller space and want to grow some things in the winter, the Metro grower is a thing to check out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. This is John Young with the Weekend Handyman.